June meeting of the Farmville Board of Commissioners. This is one of two meetings that we'll have this month. We will have another one on the 23rd. That will be for our July meeting. So tonight is the June meeting. Those having business with the town will be heard. I want to thank everybody for coming and being here tonight. And with that being said, let's take just a second or two. If you got a cell phone, I'm going to ask you to turn it off, if you don't mind. I certainly would appreciate it, because it is distracting once we get rolling here, and most of the time Dr. Hobbs and I are the ones that leave our phone on. So I said that for our benefit first and foremost. It is okay, Dr. Hobbs. By the way, for any visitors here, Dr. Hobbs is the lady with the hat, in case you didn't recognize her here, the lady with the hat. So thank y'all for being here today. We'll start our meeting first of all with the invocation, and then follow that, I'll ask Commissioner Flanagan to lead our pledge tonight. And if you wish and you could, please stand in respect.
Let us pray. Father God, we come to you with humble hearts tonight. We ask, Lord, for your continued blessings on this town. Touch these leaders tonight as they conduct the business of the town of Farmville, and touch the citizens of this town and the community. Let all be treated fairly and with equality, and let Farmville remain a peaceful and loving place to live, and a place that continues to grow and excel. We ask for grace and mercy, discernment and wisdom this evening as we move forward. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Mr. Flanagan. Flag, United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Once again, welcome and thank you for being here. Amy, did I have any citizen comments? None, no citizen comments. Okay, citizens, tonight at the end of the meeting, there will be an opportunity to be very clear on this. At the very end of the meeting, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions that are directly related to anything that you hear tonight. Okay, citizen comments for other stuff, but the last one is about what happens here tonight. With that being said, let me apologize in advance, because if I refer to you as Justin, but when it comes to money and town business, I will refer to you as Mr. Oates. So tonight, town business and the interim town manager and the business of money here tonight, it's time for the town manager's comment. Mr. Oates.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Just a couple of quick items. First off, I was going to recognize our Parks and Rec Department and the splash pad. It opened up weekend before last. It'll be open through Labor Day for the summer, since we had a pretty good crowd out there on the opening weekend. So be sure to take an opportunity to get out there for that. And Chris, I believe I saw there's some special programming days that are going to be available this summer as well. So yeah, by all means, please let folks know that is up and going for the year. Secondly, Mayor touched on a little bit, we will have our July meeting on June 23rd, and so that, to help with coinciding with the July 4th holiday, the town will be holding its July 4th celebration on the town common on July the 3rd. And then finally, and we can talk about this a little more at our next meeting, but we will need to call for a special meeting in July to hold a public hearing in regards to the town's application to the local government commission regarding the fire station project. The application will be due to the LGC on August the 5th, so that can get us on the September 2nd LGC meeting. So again, we can discuss that date between now and the 23rd. We can work with the board to find the best date to hold that hearing in July. We can schedule that at our next meeting. Okay,
if you put that on the agenda, we will decide when that July call meeting will be. Anybody have any questions of the town manager? Seeing none, Mr. Oates, welcome aboard day one. You've done good so far. Hang in there, it's early. Changes, additions, or deletions to the agenda. Board, you have the agenda, or any changes, deletions, or financial report, I'm sorry. It is in your book. Any questions on the financial report? Anybody with the financial report? Seeing none, now we'll go to changes, additions, and deletions.
I make a motion we accept the agenda as presented.
Commissioner Smith has made a motion that we accept the agenda as presented. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. That brings us down to the public hearing. This is a public hearing. Justin is going to brief us on this. After that, the floor will be open for anyone wishing to speak on the public hearing. You will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. Only thing we ask is that you give us your name and how we can get in touch with you, where you live, or contact information in case we have to go back and ask you a question for future reference. With that being said, time for the presenter. Mr. Oakes.
All right, thank you, Mayor. As the Mayor mentioned, this is the public hearing for the FY 25-26 budget. You have the budget ordinance in front of you in your notebook. This board was presented with the proposed budget at your May meeting. In the time between our meeting tonight and when it was presented to you, we held our budget workshop at the library. The only changes that were made at that time were the determination of the funds that were going to go to the outside groups, which this board approved unanimously at that time. There's been no other changes to the budget as it was presented to you by Manager Hodgkins back in May. And so the budget ordinance you have here before you reflects the budget as it was presented with the appropriations to the outside groups.
Okay.
So we're looking for this evening this motion from the board.
This is a public hearing. I now declare this public meeting open to anyone that would like to speak to the budget. Please come forward.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Pam Strickland. I'm the founder of North Carolina Stop Human Trafficking. And I've been coming to y'all for a lot of years in January and about Human Trafficking Awareness Month, where you all sign a proclamation. And I've always been welcomed very warmly. You've always expressed how serious an issue human trafficking is and how important our work is. So I will confess I was a little surprised when we requested some funds from the town that the answer was unanimous and that it was no. Given that you all have expressed how important this issue is to you, I am respectfully requesting that you reconsider and put North Carolina Stop Human Trafficking in the budget for the nonprofits. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Yes, good evening, Commissioners. Stephen Hardy Braz, North Queen Street, Farmville, North Carolina. I appreciate the opportunity last meeting to give you a brief presentation on the Americans with Disabilities Act, and understand that, your attorney for the town has spoken to people as he's explained that the town's obligation to follow the federal law and these civil rights. Public Works Director, I believe, spoke to you at the retreat about it, but I failed to see anywhere in the budget where there's extra money for someone actually to be the ADA coordinator, like the 1990 law requires the town to have as a coordinator, policies and grievance procedures. I fail to see in there where there's sufficient money to address the hundreds of sidewalk ramps that are missing in this town, and we continue to work on roads and alter them and not fix the sidewalks. I can show you examples repeatedly of how we keep violating these rules. I've expressed the rules, I've given handouts, I've given a presentation as you all politely listened to me last month. Your attorney has given you advice. I fail to see in the budget where this is being followed. And I hope this would be remediated. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing none, I now declare this public hearing closed. Board, this is your opportunity for questions, comments, or motions.
I would like to thank our town manager and interim manager for all the work that they have done on this, and they've made some very difficult decisions, but I would like to make a motion that we accept it as presented.
Commissioner Smith has made a motion that we accept the town budget as presented. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Town Manager Oakes, you have your budget. That brings us down to the items for consent. Board, you have that before you. There are 6 of those items for consent. Any comments, motions?
I move that we approve the items for consent.
Dr. Hobbs has made a motion that we approve the items for consent. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. That brings us down to item J, items for discussion and decision. Consideration of awarding a contract for construction of the ARPA Housing Authority Sanitary and Sewer Improvement Project. And Town Manager, I think you got the lead on this.
Yeah, we actually have Rich Moore here with us from McDavid Associates.
I don't totally pass it off today.
Just so you know, I got you highlighted in my notes here. I was following the chain of command.
I knew I should have let him take it, but good evening. I'm here to present the award of construction for the 2022 Housing Authority Sanitary Sewer Improvements, ARPA project, SRP-W-ARP 0251. Essentially, we received bids the first time on April 8th, and we only had one bidder show up, so we had to re-advertise. We re-advertised and received bids on April 29th. And again, Ralph Hodge Construction Company was the only contractor to submit a bid. They submitted a bid of $2,718,505.70. And I presented a resolution, should be in your packet, that on the back of it has a balanced budget for this project. And bids came in right at real close to where our budget was, which still leaves us plenty of contingency, so we have plenty of money to build the project with. And if anybody has looked at it and has any questions about it.
You had Dr. Hobbs' attention when you said plenty of money. You want to simplify this just a little bit for the gallery?
Yes. We've got the grant is for, I don't have my glasses, but like $3,800,000, and with the award going to Ralph Hodge at $2,718,000, it leaves us around $264,000 in contingency.
Okay. Board, you got any questions on this? Commissioner Smith, got one?
Why was Hodge Construction the only company that bid on it, you reckon?
With all, it seems we've been running into a lot lately with all this ARPA funding. Everybody, all the contractors are extremely busy, and they're picking and choosing what they want to bid. And Ralph Hodge is their kind of gravy is sewer. Some others have been focusing on large water projects or wrapped up and just felt like they couldn't get to it this year. If they were the low bidder, it would be close to next year, this time next year, till they could get started.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? I think what you're looking for is approval of the resolution.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
I so move.
Dr. Hobbs made a motion that we approve the amended project budget, ordinance, and awarding construction. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Congratulations. I think you are still here. Are you going to take this next one, or is Richard going to come?
Rich's got that.
Okay. This is approval of resolution designated authority representative for the Enterprise Business Service, better known as the EBS platform. So, Richard, take us slow through this.
Right, and this is mainly a housekeeping issue. You know, for all of the Division of Water Infrastructure grants that the town has obtained, the board has to approve all of the grant agreements, you know, any activity specifically in terms of allocation of those funds. And once you adopt the budget, you go through the process of your contracted work, and you submit requisitions to the state for them to disperse the funds to the town. And the normal process for that is that, you know, the pay requests are submitted by your vendors. You know, we get them, we approve them, we submit to the town for signature, and then we submit those to the state. The state has come up with a new portal system to where all requisitions have to be uploaded electronically. And in regard to that, you know, the authorized representative has the responsibility to obtain a NCID number from the state, and with that, to set up a portal password to go in and log in with each requisition and approve those on behalf of the unit of government. And for all of these projects, the authorized representative is always your chief elected official, in this case, Mayor Moore. And that goes for, every one of these projects that every other, municipality has allocated. And, while we understand the logistics of, certainly, contracting and grant commitments and things like that, for approving pay requests, it really becomes a significant burden on, on your chief elected official, that every time somebody submits an invoice that, he has to come in and log in and do it when you've got staff members that's their job basically, is to process those pay requests. And so what we are proposing is to specifically for requisitions only, to identify additional authorized representatives who will have the ability to log in on behalf of the town and formally submit, upload, and approve those requisitions after they've been signed, by your chief elected official and everything else. And the way we've structured this resolution is that, we certainly want the mayor to maintain that signatory authority, and then also add your town manager and your finance officer as having, comparable rights to log into the portal system and approve those pay requests. And this will only go for requisitions and pay requests, any type of, change orders, grant agreement amendments, contracting services. Those have to be approved by the full board. But this is just specific to, providing approvals to requisitions and pay requests. Just trying to provide, a few more people that have that signatory authority. As a comparison, community development block grant projects, they always assign 4 individuals to serve as signatories. So what I'm proposing here, basically the same concept, just having 3 people that have the rights to, formally submit requisitions to the state. So that's a quick summary.
Amy, you want to add to this? Nothing? Good. So, all right, board, you've heard what Justin said. You need an approval on that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I need a motion, board, to approve the resolution to authorize the representatives for the employee business services.
I'll make a motion that we
Well,
approve.
before you make the motion, let me ask a question.
Certainly.
Are those signatures in lieu of one or the other? Or
No.
are all, okay,
Now, every pay request has to be signed, has to be signed by the chief elected official.
okay. So
But the
there's no
ability to upload
substitute?
it,
Okay,
Yeah, not only will the mayor have that authority, but your town manager and finance officer will have that authority just to upload the approval.
but the final signature is the mayor?
Absolutely.
Okay, go ahead.
Having said that, though, just to make, all invoices that come through that are contracted under you, McDavid is reviewing those
Correct.
and giving a preliminary sign off. Then what we're saying is
Yep.
we're letting, Justin
recommend
and
approval.
Amy look at it.
Yep.
Then it goes to the mayor.
Correct.
And so my motion is the same, that we approve the resolution.
Sounds like a good check and balance system to me.
Absolutely. It's an
Absolutely.
internal control policy to make sure that, not one person has any authority, special authority to approve something that's not fully disclosed and fully checked out.
Correct.
So, you're right.
Good deal. You've heard the motion from Commissioner Evans to approve the resolution designating the authorized representative. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, is that all with you guys? You got one more?
I got one more. I'll be a substitute for Mike Barnett.
All right, stand right there. What this is to approve an attached 2024 CDBG compliance plan. Walk us through this.
Yeah, and whenever you receive funding through the Community Development Block Grant process, and that can either be through the Neighborhood Revitalization Program, which is through Commerce, which is, what we've done for housing rehabilitation, renovation, and for, local activities like the Arts Center, or where we've had some infrastructure projects to address, improvements in low to moderate income areas. Because the funds are coming through HUD, there's a federal requirement that each grant recipient has to adopt specific policies and procedures that comply with HUD regulations with regards to how your town manages those funds, looks after them, and provides citizen participation and input with regards to their expense and allocation towards the improvements. And you can have a project funded every year, and the plans will not change other than the year on the plan, but you have to adopt a set of plans specific to each funding appropriation that you get. And so what we've got here is the town received $950,000 for the 2024 Community Development Block Grant Neighborhood Revitalization. And so what we've got before your consideration is adoption of your contract and signature policy, which again, you're going to identify 4 individuals who will have signatory rights. So, because you always want at least 2 representatives to sign, every requisition, your equal opportunity plan, which is saying that, you will advertise and promote equal opportunity not only for participation in the program, but any type of contracting work that you'll have to go through those procedures, and they have to be included in your contract clauses. Your Section 3 plan, which is that you will encourage participation in construction from Section 3 individuals and businesses, and those are identified individuals or businesses that are specifically low, moderate income, and you will perform postings and advertisements in locations when there are job opportunities to attract low, moderate income candidates for participation in potential job openings. You've got a procurement plan and a code of conduct, which is you're just going to follow the federal regulations with regards to procurement for your construction contracts. Language access plan, where if you have an individual who is English deficient, that you will take the appropriate steps to provide the interpreter to accommodate that specific individual. And there's a dial-in number, and certainly there are other people that you can get from the state that can come down and help. Citizen participation plan, because this project involves housing renovation and activities, there will be a requirement of advertising for local citizens in addition to staff members to serve on the process of considering which homes to participate in the plan, and if you have additional funds, which ones to add to the program afterwards. Your fair housing program, again, you're not going to discriminate anybody based on anything, and even it goes back to your 504 coming down. Your excess force policy, you're not going to. You're not going to forcibly, relocate somebody or tell somebody they got to get out of the house to, so you can fix it. With that, you have an anti-displacement policy that if somebody's home has to be renovated and they have to be taken out of that home so that the improvements can be made, the program will pay for temporary housing for them to be relocated while their house is under construction, and that includes any type of storage that's required for their furnishings, clothes, anything like that. The program pays for that so that the citizen is not out of pocket. Your Section 504 grievance is if there are individuals that identify that they feel like they're discriminated against because of a disability, there's a procedure in place that they go through. But basically, you're saying that you will not discriminate on the basis of disability for any consideration for the housing. Your general complaint procedure, which again is not only for a series of public hearings that will be required for the program, but also the rights for citizens to write in with complaints and the required response times to any type of written complaints that are required. And your record review policy, which says that you're going to retain your records for a minimum of 3 to 5 years after the project is complete. And so that's a summary of all the policies. And again, it's all HUD-based and required, and it is nothing different from what the board has previously adopted on prior programs where you've received community development block grant funds. So, nothing bad, all good, and certainly for full transparency that you do want to participate and you do want to have your citizens provide input, which you've done in the past, and which has worked good. So, y'all are super good to work with.
Just to be redundant, this is not new to us. We've done this before.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Every time y'all have gotten funded, y'all have had to do this.
Okay. Because there's always been the one, why not me? So,
right. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
This is nothing different. Only name change is the year.
That's right. Board, you've been down this road before. Any questions of Rich? Is there a motion to approve the attached CDBG compliance plan? Is there a motion?
I was going to say, I'll make a motion that we approve the attached 2024 CDBG-I compliance plans.
Perfect. Commissioner Flanagan has made the motion. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
You're done with it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Good
very
job. Appreciate what you do. And I got to tell you, the work that's gone into that and the people that have been behind the scenes on that are being commended, because we've done this before and we've helped a lot of folks, and I thank you for that.
Absolutely. And that's y'all are all to be applauded for that.
There you go. Thank you, sir.
No,
Thank you.
appreciate y'all's help.
You too. That brings us down to, Christopher, you ready? Yes. All right. You got a presentation for us tonight for a comprehensive recreation master plan. We've been excited about this. We've been waiting for this, and you're going to walk us through it, right?
Yes. Good evening, Commissioners. I am pleased to announce Nate with McGill, the consulting firm that we've been working closely with for the past 9 months to develop our town 10-year comprehensive master plan. Nate is here tonight to present the final draft of the final report, which includes and reflects extensively community input, analysis, and strategic recommendations that are going to guide us and our department over the next 10 years. With that said, no action is required on the board tonight. This is an informational session. We will be coming back to you in the June 23rd meeting for adoption of the plan. So with that said, I'll turn it over to Nate and be present for any questions you might have afterwards.
Mayor Moore, Commissioners, if you give me 2 seconds, I'm going to present on the back wall, but I'd welcome you to turn around and I'll present from there. While I'm getting this ready, it's good to see all of y'all. And as I'm getting this set up, just know that I'm going to spend a little bit of time readdressing things that we had a chance to talk about whenever we were at the work session. I will not go over each thing in as much detail as we did during the work session. However, it does set a pretty good backdrop. Ready, please? Thank you. All right. There we go. All right, that will come into view a little bit more clear as we get going. Can everybody see? Most of y'all, I know I make a better door than window. All right, so first up, we had a chance, like I said, I'm going to revisit a couple things that we talked about before, that whenever local governments look at Parks and Recreation, there's basically a spectrum that's going on for most local governments. On one side of the spectrum, Parks and Recreation is viewed as an expense, similar to a police department or fire department, to where you put money in, and then you get a program or a service out. On the other side of the spectrum, Parks and Recreation is viewed as an investment, to where, yes, you get those programs, you get the services back, but there's also a bit more that comes with it. There's more or less some dividends that come with it that help impact the quality of life in your local government. Each local government is somewhere along that spectrum. You know, normally find local governments on one side or the other. I want to welcome you. As I'm doing this, I'll make a couple spots where I'm going to pause, but I want to welcome you. If you have any questions, feel free to stop me. What I want to share first is something that we had talked about before, that most of the research, there's a fair amount of research out there that shows that Parks and Recreation is impacting in like an investment in several different areas. It positively impacts your property values in your community. It draws new businesses in. It helps with that economic development. It also helps with visitor spending. We see that a lot with any type of community event that you have, sometimes sports complexes, and a number of other things. The other thing that it does is it showcases your community to potential new visitors and also possibly new residents. Now this is important because this plan is not only helping you have a guide for the future for the next 10 years for your Parks and Rec department, it's also purposely designed to help you go after grant funding. Now, I used to manage several of these grants that are up here. I want you to know that there is a common misperception that there's free money just floating out there. That's generally not the case. You do have to invest typically local funds in that equation, but this plan does help you leverage that, and it helps you score better should you go after future grants. Any questions so far? All right, let's move along. We talked about this before. We did some evaluations, some benchmarking. We looked at not only Farmville and other communities of comparable size in North Carolina, but we also evaluated you against national metrics. In general, you have an above average size park system. You have a big park system. Your budget is slightly below the national median, so you're starting to see this spectrum where you have a large park system and a generally average budget. The next thing is that we evaluated your programs. Your programs are steady or increasing, which is good. It's showing that's indications of a vibrant Parks and Rec department. Those are good things. It's also showing that you're engaging the community. The other thing is that your population is generally growing. If your population was growing and your Parks and Rec program were flat, that's an indication that something's going wrong. What we actually see here is your participation is on an increase about where your population is, maybe even a little bit better. That indicates that things are going well. All right, so the next piece that I want to get into is how important and how much this plan has, the foundation of it, has not just been based on data, it's also really critical that we understand that this is based on what your public wants. We did so much public input. We did multiple different focus group meetings. We did multiple different public input meetings. We had a survey that was out there. What we have up on the screen and what you have in your hands, and it's also in the plan in more extent, is all of the different efforts that went into understanding what your public want. I'd also added this, we also took pains to understand not only that we had good representation or good response rates, but we also mapped out where those respondents are from. Not down to where we're going to identify individuals, but just to make sure that every part of the town was identified. And I'll say that not only did we find that you had good representation from your community, but we also found that I'm sorry, I jumped ahead a little bit too quick. You have a lot of people that are outside of the town limits that are looking to Farmville to provide recreation. And that's actually not a bad thing. It shows that you have a strong system, and it's also showing that you're drawing people into the community with your Parks and Rec system. So next I want to jump into a little bit of what we found from those public input meetings and the surveys. What we have up on the screen is, in summary, what you're looking for is you already have a pretty strong offering of youth athletics. A lot of what your public input came out with, and this is from your input meetings, but we're also going to see a reoccurring theme from your the other input methods, was that they're looking for some indoor spacing, they're looking for walkability. Your community really wants fitness opportunities, and they want non-traditional activities, for younger adults, for teens and stuff. And basically what that's saying, and this is also reflected in your focus group meetings, is that you're doing a good job with your youth athletics. What you're doing right now is really good. And they're wanting more of it. And really to be able to do that, you need to be able to make some small tweaks. Your focus group meetings, these are some of the core themes that came out of this. If you remember back, we talked about your park system is large and your budget's generally average. What's happening is that people in Western Pitt County and the surrounding areas are coming into your park system, and your system is starting to get loved to death. You have a lot to offer the community, but because it's getting so much use, it's hard to really, you're maintaining your facilities well, it's just hard to keep them in optimal shape with all that use. There was a lot of people that brought up that the library should be the standard of operation in the sense of this is what we want from our facilities. It's a really polished and nice facility. They'd like to see that carried over into some of the parks. The department's doing a good job. We have plenty of parks. Again, fitness came up again. Increased walkability. There was a general sense that if you're in downtown, it's really nice, it's walkable and engaging. The further that you get away from town center, it becomes a little bit more difficult to walk. And then indoor recreation facilities are not in the best of shape right now. And that's not because it's just where it is, it's just what the public's saying, but I think that there is opportunity to improve not only the offerings and the opportunities, but it's something that's also came up with the survey. So what we have, and I'm going to touch on, I'm not going to go through in depth all of the survey. This is pretty important. The public was saying that they feel that the current investment right now is a 2.7, so it's right around the mid-mark. It's teetering between not enough and really being a trendsetter. What they would indicate, or what they did indicate, is that they would like to see a 3.6, which is really moving towards, we'd like you to invest and grow slowly. They're not looking for you to go out and drop, $20, $30 million right now, but they would like you to do some slow and small investments into more or less into the park system that you already have. So what is it that they would like to be invested in? Right up here, I know this might be a little bit difficult for y'all to see in the back. But But again, we're seeing the same type of themes. They want walkability. Some of the things that also came out, they want accessibility. They want cardio and weight equipment. So a lot of that fitness, a lot of the accessibility, and the other pieces that we saw is you have a lot of athletic fields, you have multi-purpose fields. They want kind of the fringe things. The other pieces that the system, additional pickleball courts, a skate park, outdoor stage. Those are not athletic based, but there's other people that would like to see that type of recreation offered. I want to pause there for a second. I know I've gone through this pretty quickly. Any questions about anything I've touched on so far? Again, this is stuff that that everybody's basically already heard. We also did an evaluation of your park system. It's really, it's a large system that's being maintained well. A couple areas that I want to draw out is your indoor recreation centers. This is just our professional analysis of it. They've been loved to death. They've seen their better days. Just in time, whenever you get that much use, there needs to be some updating every time. The other thing that you'll see is lighting. There's some areas that could use some additional improvement from that. That equates into the park safety if you don't have adequate lighting. Your support facilities are fair, some of them need some updating. And you'll see on the far right-hand corner, we evaluated each one of your parks for accessibility. These are just things that over time, we understand that this plan was part of that investment to understand where those needs are, and that is a good start of the investment, and that was one of the things that popped up. All right. So remember back, and I'm going to go through this real quickly, we also benchmarked your community across across the nation for comparably sized communities. What you see up here is anytime that you see a green, it means that you're within benchmark. It means that when we're looking at comparable sized communities across the country, you're similar to somebody of your size. What you see up there in that kind of teal color is that you're above benchmark. I told you all this before, I'm going to tell you it again, I've never seen it. To where you're at or above benchmark for everything. You have a lot that you're offering your community, which is really good. If we saw anything red up there, it means that you're below benchmark, and it's great that you're not. So that leads us up to the last part, and this is new information that we're talking about. So after we gathered all this, looked at all the evaluation, these are the high-level recommendations that we're talking about. As you're reading through the plan over the next few weeks, you'll be able to see the amount of depth and detail that we went into. So the first thing that we're looking at is updating your parks. Again, we said a lot of people are visiting your parks. Maybe just look towards updating, polish them. What's the curb appeal for that? Sometimes that might be some landscaping, fresh coat of paint, updating what's already out there. You have good assets, they just need to be upkept a little bit better. The other piece is your branding. You're doing a good job of marketing internally. Some areas that we see that need to be improved is you don't have kind of unifying marketing, unifying signage throughout your park system, and what that translates into is new residents may not know what's going on, your visitors may not know what's going on. Your residents, by and large, from what we found, do know what's going on. All right, so the second thing is programming, and again, I've said this a lot. You've done a really good job with youth athletics and traditional programming. Fitness is really important for your community, and then something for young adults and teens. And this is something, I gotta tell you, Chris was already, in his department, was already working on this as the data was coming, before the data came in. He knew that this was a need, and they had already proactively started to do this, so hats off to Chris and his team for recognizing that in advance. The other piece is budgeting and funding. More funding towards updating facilities. That means taking care of the assets that you have with a little bit more interest in updating them rather than looking at building new things. There's a fair number of communities that we go to and say, hey, you need to go out and build brand new parks, brand new facilities. It's really more about the things that you own, updating them. The other thing is more interest and effort towards major maintenance and programming capacity. Again, the programming capacity we talked about is the non-youth athletic type stuff. It's the other type of programs, and sometimes that just takes time to get up. The other piece is major maintenance, and we're not talking about adding, entire new crews of maintenance staff. We're talking about starting small, starting incremental, and then with smaller capital projects to get things updated. Any questions with that? And I've got about three more recommendation areas.
Did you give us a background on the survey?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. In the appendix, it's got everything broken out. and it is much more in-depth than the plan itself. And we could be here for an hour if we wanted me to go through as much depth.
Now, I don't want you to go through it, but I know it affects the credibility of the
It
city.
does, yes ma'am. And the other piece is that Christopher had asked that we not only be able to break out just the survey as a whole, but we have the data, and we'll be giving it to Christopher, that we can break it out geographically, what the different geographic needs of your community are. And then, demographically, we're able to break that out. So that's all data that Christopher's going to have access to. You're going to have a lot of depth in the plan, but there's also some other add-ons that, because of the foresight, that we're going to be able to give you. All right, so the three other areas that I want to talk about for recommendations, and then we'll kind of draw to a close, is connectivity, accessibility, and safety. You have, again, that walkable downtown. There's not a whole lot of greenway systems, so to speak of, or connectivity between your parks. So that was something that a lot of people have expressed interest in. Hey, whenever we come in, you've got a great downtown. How do we get from this park to this park? Or from this area of the city to that area? So that's something to be considered. The improved lighting and then adding accessible features. This plan itself here will also help you with some accessibility type grants that you can get through the state that will leverage local investments. Without this plan, this is really the first step towards that. Without that, those costs are much higher, but with this plan, it helps you reduce those costs as you're looking to update. The other piece is staffing. Again, there are some recommendations in here that you look towards some indoor facilities that you already own, and then looking at staffing those. We do think that that's a direction that you should be considering. The other piece is your preventative maintenance. You've already got the maintenance staff to take care of what you have right now. It's really getting some dedicated hours towards improving things. And then the last piece is formal planning. And this is not meant to sound self-serving. There's a fair number of your parks that have been kind of informally planned over the years. And whenever you informally plan a park, your community changes over time, and that community need changes over time. There's some parks that really could use a reevaluation of how the park's laid out and possibly make some tweaks to it that would help it better serve the community. All right, so that is the last of the recommendations, and again, that is high level. When you're reading through this, you're going to see a whole lot more detail, and then that detail as you're reading through it, and I know you can't see this, but what we do is then we take all of those recommendations, those more detailed recommendations, map it out over action steps, which are broken up into immediate things that need to be addressed, short range, mid range, long range. We prioritize them, and you'll see a check-off box on the right. Now that's not to say that Christopher is going to have, I would doubt that any department is able to go through and check them off in order every single time. Rather, this is meant to be a guide for the town. And that's the other piece. And as you're reading through this, and as you're considering adoption, we don't want you to think that, this is absolutely 100% that you're going to start at item A and you're going to go, or item 1 and you're going to go through item 100 in that order. Most local governments are able to use this as a guide to pick and choose and help them guide in better understanding what the community wants as they're helping the community. All right, so that does it. And what I want to do is take a step back. I know I hit only the high level pieces there. I wanted to kind of give you the context as you start to read through the plan and then consider adoption in the future. With that being said, I'm happy to address any questions that you have.
More questions? Hold on, Nick.
Yes, sir.
Ain't gonna be quiet long.
That's fine.
I think one of the things that we as a board have to address, and it depends on who you talk to. We talk about Farmville with 4,500 people, and that's okay. But in reality, we have to address Farmville with a little over 10,000 people. And the reason for that is because in the zip code alone, there are 8,500 people. You add to that Bell Arthur, you add to that Fountain. So that comes into play. And then that brings on, well, why don't they pay a fee to get in and all this? So when you talk about expanding recreation, sometimes that's hard to grasp of the number of people. I went out the other day and counted, what was it, Christopher? I told you 105 cars at a soccer game, 105 at a soccer game. So I think one of the things we as a board would have to say is that this comprehensive plan, it is like our library. Our library, when we opened that library, it went from a municipal library to a regional library.
Yep.
And the economic impact that our library has had has been, you couldn't explain that 3 or 4 years ago, but now it's easy to understand. So with these people coming into town, this comprehensive plan, not only does it add to the quality of life of Farmville, but over 10 years and no change. We know that.
Yeah.
And I think with the number of houses that we're building, this comprehensive plan, unless I missed something, Christopher, it kind of puts us with the housing and the rec rolling at the same time. We have 2,000, I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you, but it's been a week. We got 2,140 kids in our school, okay? 2,000. And they got something, they need something to do when they get out. And so, and Crystal, what is it you're gonna be asking us for on the 23rd?
To adopt this plan. Basically just to, you're not committing to, completing all these projects, you're not committing funds to this, you're adopting, this plan is if we have money, these are the priority projects that the community would like us to work on and work towards.
Okay. So with that being said, board, I know I'm not, somebody got to have a question here, because if not, we're gonna let you go home.
And I've got, so the way that we conducted the survey was also that we not only understood what your community wants, but we also understood your resident user, your non-resident users, so that we were able to contrast that. You're in more or less competition with other communities in the area, and you're drawing people in. This helps you understand, what those potential residents are interested in.
I guess Dr. Hobbs and Commissioner Evans, they just happened to be in the line of fire. I just got a report today, 20 pages long, and it tells you right down to the number of people wear size shoes in Farmville. It's very informative of what we've got there, and this plan fits into that. And being 10 years rather than tomorrow, it ties in with a lot of stuff. And yes, we did put some parks in places, and people say, why did they put that park here? It happened, but at the time it was a good idea. So,
But I want you to leave encouraged. You're offering a lot to your community, and it's attracting a lot of people in, and your system is being used and loved a lot, and it's really good timing for y'all to have the foresight to invest in a plan right now that helps guide your decisions moving forward.
Anybody got any questions on that? Anybody?
How many of these surveys do you do on an annual basis?
On an annual basis, somewhere in the ballpark of 15 to 20 over the southeast.
Okay, that was my next question. All in North Carolina, or
No,
just all in
so
the
we're
Southeast?
currently working in North Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. And we tailor how we conduct the analysis based on each particular community. That means geographic regions are different, and so on and so forth. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay, just so you know, the new report came out, median age is 42 years old. So this looks good to me. Anybody else? If not, we'll turn around and get back to business.
All right.
Anybody? All right, thank you for coming. Crystal, what do you got to add to this?
I would just say, as you read through it, you have a link to your, to the full draft plan. Please read through that. We're still working through some edits on that, so it is not a final plan, but we don't anticipate any real substantive change to that. I will not be here on the 23rd. I'm taking my wife on a surprise birthday trip. I'll tell you where she's going, because she doesn't know. But in the next several weeks, if you have any questions, so that when it gets to adoption on the 23rd, you feel comfortable doing that, and you have all your questions answered, please reach out to myself, please reach out to Town Manager Oaks, and I'll get this answered right away for you.
Brian, are you here? Are you taping this? Are you videoing tonight? Okay, now your wife knows. Your wife knows. Good luck.
She knows she's going. She's nowhere.
Thank you for that. I do commend the Recreation Department. Brother Jeffrey Fields, I want to thank you and the folks out at Salvation Praise, because you have been with us on this since the very beginning, and it just means a lot for your church to be involved, and for that. It means an awful lot to the town that you've been there. And the survey that was done is probably the most complete and the most detailed survey that I've ever seen. So with that being said, that brings us down to citizen comments. Anybody have any question about anything you've heard tonight? If so, please come forward. Anybody? Stephen?
Yes, thank you for adopting the Section 504 grievance procedures and processes. I just want to be clear about who is the program contact person in this policy?
Have you designated that town manager on your first day on the job?
I don't believe we've designated that.
Will
yes,
you
sir.
have that for me by the 23rd?
Yes, sir.
All right.
The way I read it actually is the manager already. Is that, since you signed it, the beginning of the policy talks about you be the program contact person.
I believe typically in the past, it may go back to being the manager. I think it has in the past, but I think typically that's been discussed among the 4 individuals. I think typically it has been the manager, but I'm not sure to this point if that's been finalized with the update.
Okay, well, I was just reading, page 2 of this. On page 74, it looks like the program contact and signature policy would be the approved program contact effective for all plans they voted on tonight, containing the program plans and policies will be the town manager. So, thank you.
All right. Board, thank y'all for being here tonight. This is our June meeting. We will meet again on the 23rd for the July meeting. It's been a busy time for us. Wish David the very best in his retirement. I know we'll be hearing from him again real soon. The big thing that we had back in May, Christopher, the big walk that you had back in May, thank you for that. That was a lot of fun. The yard sale this past week where the citizens got together. Again, Brother Jeffrey, a group of citizens got together, took it upon themselves to have a gigantic citywide yard sale, and it was a home run. It put us across the state. People talking about what Farmville, North Carolina was doing. So thank you with that. Any board member got anything you'd like to say before I call for a motion to adjourn? Anybody? Is there a motion we adjourn? Commissioner Shackford's made a motion we adjourn. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. See you on the 23rd.